Hi, I'm MrByZ, and today I'm going to look at the San Diego Comic-Con Hasbro exclusives for 2019. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this, which is the Luke Skywalker, what do they call it, Jedi Destiny set. 3 3/4 inch figures. The Luke X-Wing is new. I believe the Luke Jedi is new. The Luke Stormtrooper looks to be using pieces we've had before, but we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Here's a look at the packaging for this Jedi Destiny Luke Skywalker set. You can see it has that special action figure card top like we had on those Target exclusives a few years ago, and the Dr. Aphra set last year with the figures inside. It's much like the vintage 3-packs, but on the back we get this cool artwork. It's the shiny cardboard and such. And we got a little verbiage here for you to read about Luke's journey through the original trilogy. I don't know, what would you think? Should it be these 3 figures? Should we have gotten a figure that was more Empire Strikes Back, like a Luke Bespin or a Luke Dagobah or a Luke Hoth? But at the same time, that Luke X-Wing is a great update to that too. I'm hoping all 3 of these figures come out on vintage cards. Well, maybe not the Luke X-Wing so much. We've got him before, although I'd like that figure to be produced more for people to get. But the other 2, the Luke Stormtrooper and the Luke Jedi, definitely need to be put on vintage cards. This is a nice little box set here. So this Luke Skywalker Jedi Destiny set's the only one I actually got 2 of. A friend of mine picked up one set for me at the con, and I bought the other one off eBay for a fairly reasonable price. You can get these pretty close to what they're going for, or what they went for at the con. I think they were about $54 at the con. So I think I paid $60 on this one, so it's not too bad. It's got some new figures in it. Let's go ahead and open it up. So I like to be a little careful with this stuff, and I like to save boxes. So I'm just gonna put a little slit right there. Pop this open. Maybe get it out. See, there's like a little inner liner here. Oh, there's like a piece up here that's holding it in place too. Try not to ruin the package. I know some of you are like, why do you care? You already have one to keep in the box. I just do. It's just the way I am. Type of person I am, I guess. All right, there we go. So we got these guys out. And then, again, I'm going to take my knife. I'm just going to put a little cut. The same way I open up all my carded figures, just to kind of keep the card looking good. I'm sure all of us that bought vintage stuff back in the day still have our card backs from that. Oh, I guess I didn't have to cut that as much. There was actually a piece of tape holding at the bottom. But we still have some of those old card backs where you pull it out and there's like just half the card is missing from the way you just tore it off. I know my Haunted Carbonite is actually that way, my vintage one from when I bought that. But all right. Cool, so here is our figures. Let's take a look at each one. First up, we have the Luke and Stormtrooper disguise, who looks pretty good. Looks kind of short. He's got the correct belt on, with a little wiring in the back instead of like the thermal detonator or whatever back there. And it looks like this is the little comm unit that he uses. It's got the holster and everything. He looks pretty good and pretty nice and short. Now this is using the new face print technology or whatever. Get a good focus on this so you can see it. Sometimes it just looks like he's wearing a lot of makeup in ways. I don't know. Maybe it's just losing some of that black outline detail when you do this. I don't know a whole lot of the technical aspects of how they do this and that, but it still looks pretty good. I mean, it looks kind of like Mark Hamill. Now to compare this to the previous release of the Luke Stormtrooper, who we have here, right away we can notice something. I have them both standing at the same height, but not in focus. That's wonderful. Okay, there we go. So you can see at the same height, this new one is just a little bit shorter. So they actually shortened him up a little bit. I can't tell. Yeah, no, the legs are different. These look to be similar to the legs we've gotten on other recent Stormtroopers. They've just shortened up that torso piece or shoved it. No, they've shortened it up. It is a little different. If we compare the torso pieces there. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different. But he's definitely a little bit shorter. See, the legs look to be the same. It's got to be just in that little torso piece there. Of course, we recently got the Han and Stormtrooper from Target, so this is a nice companion to go with that. Hoping this gets released on a vintage card, because wouldn't it be cool to have it? Obviously, it wouldn't be a Power of the Force card, but have that picture from the Power of the Force card from way back when, and put this figure on it. I'd love to see that. As you said, I started with the helmet on. It looks really good. He does look a little short for a Stormtrooper that way, but it's a good helmet. Seems like they finally perfected this after that Rogue One Stormtrooper. They got this down. This is a great figure. Oh, there's the comm unit, and it is it removable? No, it's not. It doesn't appear so. So can't take that out. Now, on the previous Luke Stormtrooper, it is good to notice that they had the wrong belt on him and everything. So this is a great upgrade on the Stormtrooper figure. I'd call this pretty much a new figure, if you will. Next, we get the Luke X-Wing figure, which is a figure I never thought needed an update until I saw this. It is definitely a good update over what we've had previously. In fact, if I pull out the previous one here, I just felt the joints on the older one just didn't quite look right. You can see he's kind of got wide set shoulders, and he's had the spot for the lightsaber on his belt, which isn't terrible, but like they use this body for wedge, and then it has the hole for the lightsaber and stuff. This has the updated like hip articulation. I think, yeah, they both have the torso articulation. But the arms definitely look better. It looks more like Luke. This other one kind of looks like Luke wearing a hefty bag. The shoulders just look a little too broad. Not quite right. And this new one looks so much better. We can take off the helmet. We can take a look at that head. Again, using that new printing technology. I still think it kind of looks like a little bit of extra makeup. You know, not as bad as like Holiday Special Luke, but it looks pretty good. I don't know how to put it. It kind of looks like kind of like a manga. I don't know. I'm going to say something. People are like, no, it doesn't. You don't know what you're talking about. He looks like a fashionable Luke or something, like he's got extra makeup on. That's basically what I see. But I see that in a lot of this face print technology, even on the 6-inch, I feel that way. He does come with his blaster here. It's an all-new sculpt on the body. So you'll probably be seeing this used in other figures, I'm sure. He does have the soft plastic piece for the tubing going from his chest box. So you get a look at the back of the figure. Very well done. Again, this is not one I was like, oh, we got to have it. And yet, once I got it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much better than what we've got before. Final figure here is Luke Jedi, which is one I've wanted an update to. Luke Jedi's always been one of my favorite versions of him, even since the vintage days. And I've been wanting a new one. I haven't been as pleased with any of them that have come out. And this is a figure I'd love to see put on that original vintage Luke Jedi card. It's the basic body from, it's like that Black Series one we got from Walmart, and it's also the one that was the deleted scene where he's like creating his lightsaber, that figure. So it's reusing that body. You can see the body is the same through there, but it's got a new head, a better head. It's got a better cloak than we've gotten in any Luke Jedi. And then he comes with the Palace Blaster, as well as the lightsaber. So let's go ahead and take a look at him closely. Look at the face here. Out of the three, I'd say this is the best looking Luke as far as the face printing technology. Still not perfect, but on the 3 3/4, certain angles, it looks really good. That's for sure. And I think that happens a lot with sculpts and paint jobs, is there's different angles that look the best. He does come with that Palace Blaster. This is the same mold as that other Luke, like I showed. We can get the cloak off, hopefully. I haven't tried this, so I'm trying this just for the first time here. Yeah, there we go. So you can take off the cloak and just have a regular Luke Jedi. Obviously, a lot of people will probably love to have this for their barges or just for their Jabba the Hutt scenes. I'm really hoping that this gets re-released down the line. Here we can take a look. You can see how the molding is the same from that previous one. It is just the same body, just new head. But I love this figure. This is the best Luke Jedi, like the Jabba's Palace Luke Jedi, that is, that they've come out with, and I'm so glad to see it. To me, even though this has probably the least amount of small new pieces for this set, this is my favorite figure from the set. Next, we're going to look at this Black Series Red Sith Trooper. This broke just before San Diego Comic-Con, and it seems like everybody's making them, Hot Toys as well as Hasbro, Lego, and it was all over the place, basically. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Sith Trooper. So next we'll look at this Black Series Sith Trooper. I know a lot of people when this was announced like it's just a First Order Stormtrooper in red armor. And that's not quite the truth. It's got a really cool box. You can actually see that it the trooper goes across there. From my understanding, if you put one next to the other like that it will make up the full trooper like that. Kind of neat. Lots of red boxes. Very evocative of the kind of that preview figure we've gotten for Force Awakens as well as Rogue One with First Order Stormtrooper and Jyn on those two. And then kind of that Last Jedi one of Luke and Rey that we got was kind of the 2-pack. Each one's something extra because the figure itself, it's also like the Rex from HasCon, but it has the slide off cover and inside we have the figure. Now, I'm not going to take him out of the package because this is going to be re-released later this year. And I've got a nice collection going of convention exclusives. And I decided just to leave him here. Even though in past years I've opened this up and gotten excited about it. I'm going to go ahead and leave him in here. Because like I said, I'll pick up another one. And I'd rather have it, staying in the package for my display. So if you look here, it is not just a First Order Stormtrooper. In fact, that helmet reminds me of, it seems like a concept for like the next phase of Clone Trooper to Stormtrooper. I want to say they were in the Force Unleashed video game. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. But it has little ridges on it. I don't know how well you can see it there. It's like the Lego stuff is dead on, but you can see the ridges there. It's not just smooth. There's ridges all over the body. You can see there's like some sort of, I guess, flashlight or something here on his shoulder. The armor is different from a First Order Stormtrooper. It's not just taking the body of a First Order Trooper and painting it red. Now, obviously, I'm not opening it up, but we can take a look and see we've still got the standard articulation we've gotten before. I have heard something about they're updating the technology for like the knee articulation. It looks good right here with the armor, but I can still see the 2 pins in there. Hopefully he will curl his elbows enough to hold the gun with 2 hands. I know my First Order Trooper, when I got him a couple years ago, I was upset he couldn't hold his gun with 2 hands because he didn't have enough bicep move or whatever to be able to get in there. Now the cool thing, now this figure, just the figure like that is going to be released in a regular Black Series box in October. But this has some extra stuff. It has a whole bunch of extra weapons. Kind of somewhat reminds me of what we got with that, like the Ultimate First Order Trooper from Amazon. So you can see here, we've got a couple different guns. So I don't know what you would call each of these guns. That one kind of almost looks Halo-ish or something. More like a machine gun. That looks closer to a regular Stormtrooper rifle. And this looks like, I don't even know. I don't know what to call that. It looks like tongs or something you'd grab somebody with. And then there's 2 more weapons on the other side that pull out. So we've got a big rifle here, very similar to those rifles that we had with the stands from the previous games, the previous troopers. And then we have, I guess you call it a vibroblade. It's not exactly the same as one of them came with the Praetorian Guards, but is similar to that. So that's probably what's going to be exclusive to this, not just the box, but all those weapons. I'm assuming when the figure comes out, we'll get 1 or 2 of these guns, but not all 5 of these weapons. Finally, we'll look at this Boba Fett, which is just the 6-inch Boba Fett we've had before, repainted to look like the original Kenner action figure. The last figure we're going to look at here is the Boba Fett. This is the hardest to find figure from Comic-Con. Number 1, Boba Fett's popular. Number 2, it's using the the Kenner colors, which is a cool idea. It's actually one I'd thought about doing, buying another Fett a while back and repainting it to look like the vintage one, because this is a cool idea. I'm hoping to maybe see more things like this, because it's just interesting. The mold's still the same, although it does come with a regular Stormtrooper blaster now, which the original Fett has not, because his blaster as a vintage figure was pretty much the same as the Stormtrooper figure. So I'm not going to open this. I don't see a reason to. The only reason to get it is because of the new paint job. I have a couple of loose Boba Fett's. There's no reason to have another one basically it's the same mold, especially since it's just a new paint job, but you can see it right here on the card, and the card helps makes the difference. I have a wall of these 6-inch carded figures like this. It does have a 40th anniversary Empire logo, which is very similar to the 35th Return of the Jedi logo. I'll drop a little picture of that right here. And one thing I have noticed is the bottom of the card is different. Every other card for the 40th anniversary of A New Hope and the Luke Skywalker Celebration figure, it still had the racetrack going all the way around. You can see here the bubble piece actually fits underneath the card or in there, similar to what we got with those Force Awakens figures. So this bubble isn't attached to the front of the card. It is attached inside of the card. There's like 2 pieces. You can really see it right here. Don't worry, that's just my son trying to get my attention right here. You can see that there's 2 pieces, which I find very interesting. It does take away from the effect of the vintage card there on the bottom, but I'm not going to complain too much about that. The back of the card, you can see we get a picture of Vader and Fett with Lando in the background, and a little bit of information, which is weird because it says, Kenner created the Fett figure based on photos taken the early costume test for the character appeared to screen, Empire Strikes Back. The entire line was refreshed in 1980, and Boba Fett's coloring and package art were updated to match the rest of the movie's line. As far as I know, Fett never changed from what we got in the in that Mailway figure to the carded figure. There's slight paint variations, but the card was still it's this picture, you know, with him firing seemingly in space. And the coloring has never changed. In fact, when they did Return of the Jedi Fets, it still had the same coloring, even though the figure in the movie didn't. So I don't know who wrote that, but there is seems to be some incorrect things in that, which is very odd. But it's a cool figure. I know this is hard for people to get. I know it's expensive out there. I feel very lucky to have gotten this. I have a friend who was down there. This is my 2nd year not going to Comic-Con. I went to 7 straight, and I didn't go the last 2 years because I've got a toddler son. I need to stay home and take care of him. But I had a friend who, there he is. He's trying to peek in. Look at that. A friend of mine was able to pick these up at the con for me. The only thing I have not gotten is that retro Vader figure. I'm not that excited about it, even though I'm a Vader fan, but I'll be able to pick that up. Those aren't that expensive to get. I just haven't picked one up yet. One other figure I thought I'd show from Comic-Con. This is from, was it Reaction? Super 7, sorry. Well, it's a reaction figure from Super 7. As this Maria figure from Metropolis that's done to look like a Power of the Force card. He even has a logo, much like a Power of the Force card. Comes with a coin. And they've done the figure before, but this is the first time doing it vac metallized. I really liked the idea on this, so I picked one up. They sold them on Super 7 on their website for probably a couple hours. I was able to get it. It wasn't too expensive, like $15 or something. But I just thought I'd show that. Maria is kind of a companion piece to the Alien figure. I know it's hard to see with where I have it hanging. From last year, which also comes with the coin. Although this didn't have the Power of the Force look to the card. This is more of like Star Wars / Alien look, if you will, vintage style. So that is a look at the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives for 2019. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helps you decide if you want to try and get these from Hasbro Pulse in September. These are supposed to be up, I believe it's September 10th on Hasbro Pulse for you to try and order. Or if you want to try and get them off eBay, try and find a good price. Or if you can just skip it. If you're like, oh, the Sith Trooper, I don't care about the box or all those extra weapons. I can pick up the regular figure when it hits in October. That's, that can work for you too. It's kind of the way I'd like to do this. Is just put these out so that you can decide if it's worth it for you to pick them up. I hope you enjoyed this. I've got more reviews coming. That skiff is on the way. I'm going to be able to review that and plenty of other things. Plus, now that my collection is done, and hopefully you've watched my collection video. If you haven't, go back to my previous video. It's a long video, but take a look at my collection. It's taken me almost 2 years to set up and everything. So I think I've got over 20,000 items in the collection, so it's probably worth it to check it out if you enjoy your Star Wars stuff. Anyway, check that out if you'd like, or you can check out any of my other review videos. I have a video from a couple years ago of all the different Comic-Con exclusives through the years. You can check that out. And you can subscribe to keep in contact, keep in touch with all the new videos that I put out. I'm going to kind of go through some areas of my collection, doing little spots, like little focuses, like maybe go through a specific character and look at all the different figures of that character, or a specific scene and look at everything in that, rather than what you see in my collection video, which I kind of rush through it to get it like, about a 20-minute video as it is. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and enjoy your collecting.